Hey guys, what's going on and welcome back. In today's video, we'll talk about generative AI and also email marketing for beginners and one-on-ones. So if you're a complete beginner to email marketing or marketing in general, then definitely this video is for you. Stick around, and I'll be providing this PDF right here to see on the screen as a freebie. So below the video in the description box, you're going to find the link to download this PDF, and you can use it as your reference as we go through the video. All right, so without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive into today's video. So we'll split it into 4 pillars in terms of what is generative AI in email marketing, in a sense, right? So let's start with the first one, generating new content. So how does that come into play when we talk about email marketing and AI? So AI can essentially learn from your past campaigns and past campaign data based on the audience, for example, which audience you sent to, how it responded, which metrics performed the best, which metrics performed the worst, titles, descriptions, imagery, essentially everything that was part of that email campaign. So you can feed that to the AI and it can learn and give you new suggestions or improvements, okay? Without you actually spending like hours analyzing campaigns. Although it's important to do something what we call human in the loop, you always need to have a oversight over the AI, okay? But to do that, you need to understand the basics of email marketing and also the basics of AI, and then you can use those tools to really get the results you want, right? So just to kind of make things visual, I'll be using Predictamail as an example. It's a AI-powered email marketing platform, so check it out. There's going to be a link in the description as well. So the way it works, essentially, for example, let's imagine you've run maybe 20, 30 campaigns so far, okay? So you're gonna have open rates, click rates, order rates, and etc. Okay, so you're gonna have all these metrics, okay? I'm using a blank account, so obviously there's none, but after 20 campaigns, obviously you're gonna have all these metrics already filled in, right? Based on the past campaign data. So now if you would have these numbers here, you could easily feed that to the AI and basically say, hey, how can I improve or scale my marketing campaigns, okay? Or help me improve X or Z, right? So essentially that's what in a context means when we talk about generating new content based on previous campaign data, okay? There's a lot of ways to feed your campaign data to AI. You can use something like Predictamail, okay? It comes with a AI integrated, so essentially it's gonna be crunching all these numbers in the background for you, right? You can use also ChatGPT. You can download the campaigns. You can upload all of that in ChatGPT or Claude if you're using Claude, Perplexity, essentially any AI, right? You just need to create a project, for example, right? So you're gonna go to your projects, you're gonna create a new project, you can call something like email marketing campaign, and you're gonna upload all your previous campaigns, images, and all that stuff. And they can chat essentially about everything you've done so far and ask for guidance from AI, right? So that's essentially how you can do that. So let's go back to the number 2, okay? So personalizing at scale. So what does that mean exactly in this context? So it enables one-on-one messaging based on subscriber behavior, okay? Or preferences or purchase history, okay? So in simple terms, let me just kind of open a example of an automation. So let's imagine we are a DTC brand that's selling gaming racing wheels for people who are into like sim racing or simulation racing, okay? So you have your first customer, okay? So the customer purchased your first racing wheel. So it's gonna be a welcome email. So you're gonna say something like, welcome to the club, congrats on purchasing your first racing wheel. We're super like psyched to have you here, right? And just kind of talk about the brand and the product and all that stuff, right? So essentially just a welcome email, welcoming customer into your brand, right? So after, let's say 2 weeks, you can send a additional email saying, hey, congrats on the purchase. Hope you're enjoying your new racing wheel. We think that these pedals would be a really awesome addition to your racing setup, okay? Because that's gonna take the immersion to the next level, okay? You're gonna go from super entry level, now you're gonna move towards, maybe like intermediate level sim racer, okay? So that's something that you can tailor based on where this customer is in the purchase journey, right? So this customer already has a product, so it's in a different purchase phase in a sense, right? So you can create these automations that will be tailored for all these specific customers, okay? So customers who just purchased the product, customers who haven't purchased, maybe added to cart. So if they added to cart and they haven't checked out, the messaging and the content will be different, right? So you'll try to convert the customer. You'll try to understand why they didn't convert. Maybe it's a price point, maybe it's too high, okay, in that case, let's send them an email saying, hey, here is a 20% off on your first purchase, okay? If they don't check out, again, maybe something like, hey, here is a 20% discount and plus 20% off of the next purchase after this one, okay? So there's a lot of different ways of doing that. You can offer free shipping, freebies, depending on what you are offering as a brand. But yeah, essentially that's what I mean when we're talking about personalizing email content based on where the customer is currently in their purchase history with you as a brand. Then optimizing quickly, or essentially doing A/B tests, right? So supporting A/B tests of subject lines, copy, designs, and segments to drive stronger engagement, right? So again, you can use ChatGPT, or you can use simply something like Predictamail, which will allow you to A/B test subject lines, copies and stuff like that. So why we are A/B testing, okay? Let's talk about that. So we want to A/B test so we can understand if maybe this variation or that variation would perform better, right? So it can actually happen that a headline can change a lot of things, or a content or the body or the content itself, the main content part can change a lot of things because it all depends on the tone, how you adjust the customer, right? Are you adjusting the right way, right? Are you adjusting their pain points, right? Are you addressing the phase that they are in currently in their customer journey, right? So that's essentially what A/B test lets you do, instead of kind of thinking, okay, will this email campaign actually convert people or solve the problem for this customer? So instead of thinking about that, you can create, for example, 5 or 6 different email campaigns that will essentially A/B test against each other, and then you can see, okay, this subject line did better than that one, and then you can basically scale and grow from there, right? So that's essentially what it means. All right, and now let's talk about the most favorite part for any business out there: increasing ROI, or return on investment. So how does that work in this context? So it simply reduces manual effort and cost while delivering better returns on oversight, okay, and data quality, right? So in a sense that you need to now spend much less time thinking about lower funnel decisions, like copies, descriptions, even images. You can essentially ask AI which image would be better, or generate, like, for example, 20 different images that you can choose from without actually going on Canva and spending like hours creating the best graphic asset for your email campaign, right? So now AI can generate basically bulk of copies, bulk of headlines, titles, images, and then you just literally come and choose which one you want and put it together a campaign and send it off, okay? This way you are saving money. Well, not money, sorry guys. You are saving time, which is translating into a money long term, because now you can focus on a higher level strategy, and you can focus on business strategy itself, which will be a essentially return on your investment long term. Okay guys, if that kind of makes sense. All right, let's now kind of talk about use cases for generative AI in email marketing. Okay, so generate dozens of subject lines or pre-header variants. Okay, you can also draft body copy to match brand voice, create or select visuals and dynamic layouts, adjust the messaging again based on where the customer is in their purchase journey, for example, automate segmentation and send time optimization, right? So it's kind of important, the timing when you send it. It sounds kind of weird, but timing actually matters a lot. So each business type has a different time when the customer is active the most. So if the customer isn't active during the time you're sending an email, and we all know, for example, me, I receive easily 20, 30 emails, if not more, on a daily basis. So if you don't get the timing right, the consumer will not see the email. And obviously you're not going to spam them. You're not going to send like 2-3 emails through the day. So you need to get the timing right, okay? And to do that, you will essentially do the basics, okay? And you will need to look at the open rates, okay? This is one of the core metrics in email marketing. So if you see that your open rate is really low, okay, there could be a couple options, but actually the right or wrong time can play a huge role in that. So if you see a low open rate, possibly it's because you are sending at the wrong time, because not enough people are seeing it, right? Or just not the right time in a sense. Maybe you are sending when people are rushing to the job, so the open rate will be much lower because the attention span isn't there, because they go through their work emails and they can just easily skip whatever you're sending them, right? So you need to really nail the right sending time for your email marketing campaigns, okay? So it's gonna take time. You will need to analyze the audience, the behavior, past campaigns, and from that, you're gonna crunch your data, and then you will understand the best time to send your email. Running high volume A/B testing, okay, with suggested variants, subject copy. So those are kind of the most common ones. So subject, copy, layout, and segment for continuous optimizations, in a sense that, again, you don't want to send the same email to everybody. You will need to send separate emails and A/B test them based on where these customers are in their current purchase journey, okay? And if you're using something like Predictamail, it's going to help you a lot with that, because a lot of that is happening in the background, and it's going to help you tailor that in the background without you actually doing all of that, okay? So that's important to choose the right tool, especially as a beginner. All right, so let's talk about best practices for AI-powered for AI-powered email campaigns. All right, so maintain human oversight. This is like, I can't really stress how important this is. Okay, don't let AI do everything, because it's a recipe for a disaster, right? So AI is really good, but if you know exactly what you're doing with AI and if you're feeding it the right data, right? So AI will be as good as the data it receives. Okay, if it receives if it receives low quality or low volume data, that's going to be the output. Okay, you're going to be sending essentially crappy email campaigns that will not convert, and people will simply unsubscribe. Okay, so always review and kind of try to read the email from your perspective as a consumer, and disconnect yourself completely from the brand, or I don't know, for the company that you're working, and you say, hey, if I be the customer of this brand, would I notice this email? Would I read this email? Or what I would like about this email? Okay, so always try to look at it from a different perspective as a human. All right, ensure data integrity and compliance, okay? I would say this is more applicable for European Union, because they have GDPR, and also in US. So in Europe, we have a GDPR, okay, just to kind of make it visual for you guys. So in email, for email privacy laws, if you are sending that to European consumers, you're gonna deal with GDPR, which is very, very strict compared with US or Canada ones, okay? In Canada and US, a lot of things can actually slide, especially for small brands. But GDPR is very, very strict. So this is something you definitely need to learn about. Okay, then we have CASL in Canada, or CASL. Okay, and essentially that's anti-spam legislation similar to GDPR in Europe. And in United States, we have CAN-SPAM. Okay, so same thing. You essentially need to acquire a consent to send emails to users. There's also like single opt-in, double opt-in, right? So you need to learn about those a little bit. Although I believe CAN-SPAM is mostly applicable in California and some other states. So for most of the other states in the US, that's not a problem. Same thing in Canada, honestly. Most of the brands aren't really compliant with this one, because Canada kind of pushes all of this under the rug. But if you're a really huge company, or if you're working for big companies, you will need to comply with each of these ones 100%, okay? Because there are people out there who are looking out for these things, and if you are not compliant, you're gonna get sued and you're gonna get a lawsuit, okay? It's gonna be big trouble. All right, start with seed templates and clear prompts, okay? So again, if you're using something like Predictamail right here, you're gonna have a lot of templates to choose from, right? You can create a campaign. For example, just name it something like test, okay? And you can choose a tag, for example, right? And then save continue. And essentially it's gonna allow you to choose also templates as a beginner, right? So it's really very beginner friendly, right? So you just follow step by step, choose a template, adjust it, right? So everything's kind of made for you. Just really kind of play around with templates, kind of see what you like, right? So if you're a beginner, always make sure to start with templates, because that's the easiest way to learn. You can kind of see how things are laid out and structured, dissect them, play around with them, and then as you go, you're gonna learn and you will build your own custom templates with time, okay? And for the prompts, not everybody is a email marketing copywriter, right? Not me personally either. It's something that you learn. Or you can use tools like ChatGPT, okay? And ChatGPT has this thing called GPTs, and it has a lot of GPTs, okay? So as an example, I'm using email marketing copywriter, okay? So this GPT is pretty popular amongst email marketers, and it helps you create copy, titles, and subtitles for your email campaigns, okay? So I'm gonna say something like, let's do a live example. So I'm saying create email marketing campaign for racing wheel brand to drip feed new complimentary pedals to users who have racing wheel, okay? And I'm saying use bold style copy, okay? So this means not actually like font bold, okay? This means it's sort of like it's a tone or language for the copy that is more like really informal. So if you guys ever been in like Call of Duty, for example, live servers, or you playing multiplayer, there's a lot of verbal exchange happening. So you need to use similar tone for gamers because they respond to slightly different tone and copy. Okay, so that's what I mean. Basically, bold or sort of like a brave, not super formal tone. Okay, because we are addressing gamers in this case. So let's shoot out the ChatGPT and let's see what it tells us. Cool. So it says essentially it's going to do everything, and it says I'll need the website URL where the CTA buttons will go. So that's really awesome. So I'm just going to use a Logitech racing wheel just as an example, because that's essentially the top player, some racing wheels. So I'll just feed this entire URL. And what's cool when you do that, ChatGPT actually scrapes the content of this landing page, and it can tailor the copy based on that. Okay, so let's send that to ChatGPT here. And here it is. It reviewed the URL, and now it gives me the chip campaign. Okay, target audience: existing Logitech G wheel users. Product: new Logitech G pedals, complimentary, cool. And goal: build anticipation, highlight futures, dry conversions. Okay, style is bold, high impact, sim racing focus. That's exactly what we are looking for. And this is exactly what we need when we are communicating Jeep campaigns, for example. Okay, what's missing from your racing setup? Cool. You've got the wheel. Here's what's next. This is actually really, really good. Your next racing upgrade is almost here. So these are really, really good, and it gives you a lot of options to A/B test. Okay. Here with body text, you've already got the wheel. Now it's the time to unleash the full potential of your racing rig. Okay, your a new pedal system is coming. Super cool, right? It doesn't give you like images, right? But you could say like, hey, suggest some image styles. Okay, style formats, for example. And now it's going to give me a sort of creative direction, right? So here a banner, top of the email, dark high contrast lighting. Okay, so you can actually even take all of this one and feed it to different AIs to generate the image, right? There's something like Kling. There's also Higgsfield. There's honestly a lot of AI tools that can help you generate cool imagery. Okay, but I think one of the best ones for this would be something like either, well, even Canva has AI. You can do that in Canva's AI, but I feel like Kling would be the best one. So you can use something like Kling AI because it lets you create fully custom images, and you can reference, for example, a racing wheel, and then you could say like, hey, can you animate it for me, right? So you can actually create like cool animated videos like these, for example, using AI. So really cool because totally relatable for gamers. We are accustomed as gamers to like, already like AI-ish or gaming-ish look videos and content, right? So couple ideas, guys here, definitely check them out. All right, next up, use AI for iteration scale. Preserve authentic and human intuition in your communications, okay? So make sure that the copy doesn't sound too AI-ish, which is not gonna be the case if you use something like a GPT for emails. If you use regular, like ChatGPT, you might have a bit more static or robotic feel and tone to it. So that's why it's important to use these GPTs that are specifically tailored for each of the use cases, okay? And if you guys actually want to learn more about the actual copy writing and style for emails, I can suggest you guys this website right here. So the website actually, the website name is really like exactly what it is, copyhackers.com. And these guys are really, really good in a sense to, that's all they do. They just do copies for emails, for ads, right? So they have free resources, okay? They have like blogs and articles. Definitely check them out and read a bit because it's going to give you a really, really good foundation on how to write good copy, right? So again, the social proof doesn't lie, their clients are Google, HubSpot, Stripe, like the biggest names in the world, and for a reason, because these guys are really, really awesome when it comes to writing the copy. All right, next up, monitor and optimize, really important. Regularly track performance and update prompts and models. Okay, so don't use the same thing over and over again. I would say 1 week you test one style of email marketing campaign, like subject lines, copies, imagery, track the performance, look at your metrics, look at your open rates, click rates, all that stuff. If you see that it's not performing good, try something different, okay? So don't be afraid to try and break things, okay? Because that's really the best way you're gonna learn as a beginner. Integrate with your tech stack, okay? Again, this is more advanced stuff, okay? So here we're talking about CRMs, HubSpot, Salesforce, N8N automations, you can connect all of that and create really cool custom flows. But again, I would say learn the basics and then you can kind of dive into it. But if you want to, essentially, you can read about email marketing campaign automations using N8N or Make.com, or if you want to do something really basic, you can start with Zapier, right? And for CRM, well, CRM is tricky because HubSpot is ridiculously expensive, so is the Salesforce. So if you're a small brand, CRM should be probably one of your least problems, okay? So start basic, learn email marketing campaign, start generating revenue from email marketing campaigns, and then you can scale and think about CRM system. But if you absolutely want to use CRM and start kind of off with proper, tech stack, including CRM, you can definitely check out Crisp. It's really budget friendly, right? You can see it starts from $45 a month, right? Which is like so much cheaper than HubSpot or something like Salesforce. So if you want to go with a CRM system, then definitely check out Crisp CRM for that, because it has a lot of options. So if you go to the features, you have the widgets, AI chatbot, CRM system itself, right? And AI, like you have everything you need to like have as a beginner, honestly, for a really, really decent price point over here. All right, so let's talk about some tools in a sense to use generative AI as a strategy. So specialized AI solutions, okay, tools like Predictamail right here as our main email marketing system. All right, Blaze, you can also have Team GPT, right, for deploying generative AI content. Automation flows here, you can use N8N, Make.com, Zapier, right? You can use segmentation, visual design. For visual design, you can also use, Chat GPTs, image model. You can use VO3 to maybe animate some videos, right? You can do a lot of things, right? So it depends where you are. Are you in service marketing? Are you in service business? Are you personal brand, content creator, e-commerce, right? So B2B, it will really depend on that, which stack for your generative AI you should be going with. And of course, always look for integrated AI features. Okay, for example, like here with Predictamail, you have an option to have your own API. So you can connect your APIs and really create really, really cool custom email marketing workflows the way you want it exactly. Okay, so integrations are really important. So make sure when you're choosing these tools, they offer a solid way of integrating different tools into their own stack. And that's a wrap, guys. If you have any questions, definitely drop a comment. It can be about your business. It can be about choosing the right email marketing platform or marketing as a whole, right? So just drop a comment, guys, and I'm gonna help you out personally. And as always, I'm gonna wish you success in your business and also in your first email marketing campaign. And as always, I'm gonna see you next time.